Please, Sukuna, whip it out. Smack it on my forehead. Smack me across the face with it. Put it... Thank you to our $5 patrons, Redwolf4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. Thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays and Redwolf4765. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Before we have this breakdown / review of chapter 218 of Jujutsu Kaisen, please don't leave your own on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that low notification so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon below. Each more visual as one, count them $1 a month. Exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into chapter 218. What's up, guys? I'm Punch, and here we are to read chapter 218 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as Bath the Third. And like, okay, name it something else, dog. Like, what would you call this chapter? The ability of evolution or something like that. Insect evolution, next level or something like that. Like, come on now, okay, you gotta stop. Just Bath the Third, Bath Trace. Like, well, come on now. But whatever. The chapter has a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. So we open up and we do get to see Yorozu back in the Heian period, and notably, she is stank. She munching on that fingernails like, I need to cook, I need to figure out a way to cook. How can I cook? How can I get in the kitchen? I don't even have the proper ingredients. I need to cook. And the main reason she needs to cook is because Yorozu was distressed. Her construction technique was far less efficient at utilizing cursed energy than other techniques. In terms of pure cursed energy capacity and output, Yorozu was in no way inferior to the strongest of sorcerers of the Heian era. However, her rate of cursed energy consumption put her in more than a couple of difficult predicaments. Now, this does seem to directly imply to me, and hold on, I meant to Google it before I started recording, but I will be right back. We're back in time. But regardless, we're back. Actually, we are quite literally back in time, 1,000 years ago when Yorozu was cooking. But this does seem to confirm that flat out Yorozu was in fact a Zenin. One, her original body does appear to just resemble all the other Zenins we've seen, like black hair, plain eyes, everything. This just seems to be a Zenin in that sense. And two, it also just appears to be a Zenin because the innate technique she has, construction, is the exact same innate technique of my Zenin. And they both appear to have the same problem. So the interesting thing is in terms of cursed energy capacity and output, Yorozu was in no way inferior to the strongest sorcerers of the Heian era. So yeah, unlike Mai, who had very little amounts of cursed energy due to her heavenly restriction intertwined with Maki's heavenly restriction, no, Yorozu did actually have a decent chunk of it. In fact, probably more than a decent chunk of it. If she's up there with the Heian sorcerers of that day, then she was definitely a beast in terms of just raw cursed energy capacity and output. But the issue is that construction itself is just a bad technique. Like, initially I thought, oh, you give construction to someone with more cursed energy, or hypothetically infinite, and then bada bing, bada boom, it's the most broken technique in the verse. You can literally just make anything. Make another inverted spear of heaven. Make another soul liberation blade. Make a building or something like that. Like, give it to Yuta, let Yuta have construction, and he could suddenly become the most cracked character in the verse as long as he has Rika out, because he literally has infinite cursed energy. But no, the technique itself is not just reliant on the fact that Mai just had booty cheeks amounts of cursed energy and output. No, it's just a booty cheeks technique. Like, and it makes sense, don't get me wrong. The ability to just produce something from nothing, but admittedly pure cursed energy, is crazy. Like, you realize we struggle to do that. Like, the set amount of energy that exists in the universe has always existed and will always exist. E equals MC squared is true, because we're just stuck with that. But using cursed energy to transform it into something else is crazy. It's like literal alchemy. Except cursed energy is not even a tangible concept realistically. It can be made tangible, but it's not really that. So doing it and it taking a lot of energy makes perfect sense, but the technique itself has a lot less viability, and the limitations of it are ever present even to what would presumably be a monster like Yorozu. And with that being the case, she's sort of just stuck in a loop, because while having a technique that broken is very good, if you run out after 2 uses, or like Mai can only use it once in a day for one singular attack, and everyone else is out here throwing around deadly cursed techniques 15 ways at a time, then yeah, you're gonna be stuck out of luck. And thusly, with these difficult predicaments that she's constantly being put in due to the nature of her technique, she needs to figure out a way around it. Personally, I just wouldn't. Like, she's better than me. Obviously, the Heian era was one of fight or be fought, and thusly it makes sense that she needs to focus on, like, getting combat ready with her technique. But at the same time, if you can avoid it, I'd avoid it. Or just make a whole bunch of cursed tools. Like, just be ready with cursed tools and use your basic cursed energy reinforcement to use the tools well. But I'm assuming at the time period of the Heian era, the cursed tools and their knowledge and capacities were probably a whole lot lower than they are in the modern era. Like, I doubt the inverted spear of heaven was just lying around. The black robe probably wasn't just lying around. Soul liberation blade probably wasn't just lying around. And you probably need specific knowledge and stuff like that to properly form those things. But with that being the case, we found that Yorozu did actually end up coming up with a solution most unique. One day, a rumor fell upon her ears. She heard of butterflies with the ability to fly across the sea, and hornets that could fly at 25 li in a single day. Yorozu started to see a hint of the solution in the energy efficiency of insects. But her epiphany didn't just stop there. Insects are able to lift objects several hundred times their weight, exhibit jaw strength, jumping power, and speed that should be inconceivable with their small size. They were the next step in evolution. And that is something that's true. Like, notably, the reason Spider-Man is so unbelievably broken is because he's literally just a Spider-Man. Like, well, not actually. We've seen actual Spider-Man Peter Parker, and it's some of the most terrifying imagery that I've ever seen in my entire life. But that's the thing. The reason Spider-Man's so strong to an insane degree is because proportionally, pound for pound, spiders are very impressive. And sure, humans are pretty impressive too, but like, not to the degree of a spider. Not to the degree of a hornet. Not to the degree of like, what, rhinoceros beetles or the dung beetle, the strongest pound for pound creature to literally exist, period, point blank, because it can lift like hundreds of times its body mass. That's how powerful these things are. Because biology, I suppose. So the reason Peter Parker is so strong is because he got that, but applied to a human. So like, think of how heavy a spider is, even the biggest tarantula. It's probably not even in 100th the size of a fully grown man. Now imagine the strength multipliers you would give to a full grown man if they had that ability, and now you see where Yorozu's coming from. You're seeing how she's cooking up a bit. Because if she's able to construct something that can mimic the effects of these creatures, of course not transforming herself into one, but mimic the effects, she could get that hundreds of times multiplier. Being able to lift things hundreds of times her weight, punch hundreds of times harder, get way more stamina, do all that. You can do way more if you just have those abilities. So with her construction ability, she decided to mimic the insects, mimic the beasts, and she was convinced that insect armor was the pinnacle of the construction technique. Moreover, once constructed, as long as cursed energy flowed through it, the liquid metal she freely controlled could help her in close to mid-range combat. So essentially, the insect armor is just a massive amp to all of her physical abilities, but considering it's only physicals and she's not like punching air hard enough to send shockwaves, what she's using the liquid metal for is to compensate for any mid-range and probably use it as a shield. Because presumably the bug armor itself is pretty bulky, but it's not like bulky enough to really eat numerous hits. And thusly having the liquid metal would still be useful, and the liquid metal extends the range. Though admittedly, I think I would be using the liquid metal differently, because as we can see, she uses it in conjunction with her like body in certain ways. Like, she rides on it, she can hit people with it, she can seal people with it. So I would kind of use it like around the metal structure. If you can control the liquid metal naturally and reinforce it with cursed energy, I would like be spring loading punches or like building certain weapons around the insect armor. Because notably, outside the tail, the insect armor doesn't actually have any like sharp points to it. It doesn't have anything that you can really do a stabby with. The knuckles. Like Knuckles, he don't like Sonic, he don't chuckle. He rather flush his knuckles. But regardless, around the knuckles, they're all blunt. It's just regular fists and stuff like that. She doesn't actually have any sharp pincers or anything. And while she may be into getting bitten, I don't think she's going to bite Sukuna. So by using the metal to form sharp weapons and stuff like that, I think that'd be a good way to still keep the mid-range and at the same time have some more like piercing attacks behind it. And we do get to see that this ability was actually very, very viable, even in the past, as this combat style allowed Yorozu to turn the tables on the Gokusho, the 5 Void Generals, a subjugation unit under the direct command of the Toshi, that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the Celestial Squad led by Uro, a respected feat that permitted her entrance into the Fujiwara clan. So that's interesting. She wasn't born a Fujiwara, but you could become a Fujiwara, and this leaves her in a very interesting spot scaling-wise. Because the thing is, I don't think she scales to Sukuna or Meguna. I don't. Even after what happens in this chapter, we've seen other people land hits on Sukuna, and he just ate them. for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, in fact. So I think she may scale, like, notably, I'm not sure why she was allowed to become a Fujiwara for standing shoulder to shoulder. I mean, maybe she could turn the tables on the Gokusho. So she could do that, while someone like Uro couldn't. So she should scale above Uro. The Yuta versus Yorozu debates, they're popping off everywhere now. I'm seeing it. And, like, I get it. Like, if you take if you take Yorozu's feats at face value, you definitely get, like, a narrative that seems to put her above Yuta, because she has direct feats on Sukuna. Sukuna's not just blitzing and one-shotting her like he did with Ryu, and obviously Yuta didn't blitz and one-shot Ryu. So presumably I could definitely see the Sukuna greater than Yorozu greater than Yuta arguments here. But, like, I'm leaning towards the fact that Sukuna specifically isn't using Shrine. He's not using Cleave or Dismantle or anything like that, and that could probably just casually neg Yorozu in the same way that Ryu was casually negged. And sure, I will give her this. We'll talk about where she may scale later as we get into the chapter itself. And we do get to see, after this explanation, she dives into, it actually does manage to sucker punch Sukuna. But unfortunately, once again, Gege has managed to disappoint me, as he always does, though admittedly, this was kind of implied by the end of the last chapter. Meguna didn't actually summon Maharaga. He just summoned Maharaga's wheel. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting a little sick and tired of you, Gege. I'm getting a little sick and tired of you. You hype us up with these cool end of chapter. I think the biggest two culprits, you know what they are. One was the triple domain expansion. We didn't get to see a single one of those characters' domains because that stupid bug came out of nowhere and shut it down. Come on now. And obviously, the internal conditions of the domains were all clashing, so they couldn't do it. But fine, whatever. I can let that slide. But you gave me the beautiful idea, the gorgeous thought of Meguna dropping Maharaga on Yorozu's head, and we're going to get a second appearance of Maharaga to get some actual solid scaling for that darn thing, because it didn't do anything to 15 finger, and then you just proceed to put it over Sukuna's head, and then have Yorozu hit Sukuna so hard that she knocks one of the balls off, which is hilarious. But still, like, what does this even mean? What does this even do? Like, is Sukuna now adapting in the same way that Maharaga was? Does he now have Maharaga's technique or something? I don't know. It's cool to see that Yorozu is fast enough to actually hit Sukuna. Seemingly enough, Sukuna could not dodge. Like, he doesn't seem to. Like, because we know he's able to dodge whenever he seems to want to in their previous encounter. Base Yorozu could not land a single hit on Sukuna. He was kind of just styling on her. But she did manage to sucker punch him once he put this thing over his head. But what is it doing? Because if he has Maharaga's technique now without actually summoning Maharaga, 1, why didn't Megumi do this? 2, why didn't Megumi do this? And 3, why didn't Megumi do this? But 4, in actuality, like, he's unstoppable. He's legitimately unstoppable. Because he can then adapt to anything. Sure, it's a late game throw, but it's going to be a throw nonetheless. No one's going to be able to one-shot Meguna, and if he's adapting everything, will physical force even work on him anymore? Because Yorozu punches him. Is he now immune to punches like Maharaga was? Like, I have no idea what this thing means, why it's floating over his head, but I still will admit I'm very disappointed we don't get to see Maharaga. Do I understand why? Yes, because obviously Yorozu, as cool and as amazing as her ability is, she's not important enough to drop Maharaga on. You know who Maharaga... Then again, Maharaga almost got dropped on Toto's head, and then Maharaga did get dropped on that one hand dude's head. The guy with the Miracle Curse technique. So Maharaga has been dropped for less dangerous scenarios before, but I still think it would have been cool to actually see Maharaga again. But whatever, I'll take what I can get. I won't complain too much. And we do get to see that with Yorozu absolutely blitzing and smacking up Sukuna. She hits him, sends him flying, and bouncing a little bit. She appears and goes to strike again. However, we see that Sukuna very quickly manages to pull out another Divine Dog to sort of end up blocking the hit. However, we do see that Yorozu is in fact about that life, because she absolutely weaves and breaks. Like, I'm not sure if she actually breaks Sukuna's ankles here, but it literally looks like he steps back as she weaved around the Divine Dog, and he's literally, like, it looks like he's falling, and she immediately lunges into a drop kick, kicking Sukuna into a wall. So this does like definitively appear to put her above character. Like, unless Sukuna's still being suppressed in some way, shape, or form by Megumi, that's the only argument I could see being made here. She is low-key, like, smacking around Sukuna left and right. Like, this is better feats than anyone has had on Sukuna. Even Maharaga himself wasn't doing like actual damage, and sure, Maharaga sent Sukuna through more buildings than Yorozu did in a stronger physical vessel, but like, this is actually doing decent enough damage that Sukuna needs to do something. And we see that Yorozu's like, yo, level with me real quick, dog. Seriously? Like, now, even after all this, you still ain't pulling up the shrine. Like, still not whipping it out, still not smacking it on my forehead, still not throwing it on my tongue. Really, you're really not hitting me with it? Like, please, slobber all over me. Pour your shriny juices all over me. Please, I'm begging you. And we see as Sukuna rises from the rubble. He doesn't actually rise from the rubble, but he has taken damage. Like, seemingly enough, there are marks on his face, but for some reason, he's not healing it. I'm not sure why, though. Like, he should have full access to RCT. He has the highest level of RCT in the entire verse, in fact. It's only what? Him, Yuta, and Shoko, who can heal others with RCT. Those are the only 3 characters in the entire verse with that ability. But for some reason, he's not healing himself here. Maybe it's just a flex, though. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it's entirely just a flex, because he seems like a flexing kind of dude. But notably, his face doesn't even look like that intrigued. He's not smiling or anything. He doesn't have the same... He doesn't look like Sukuna, if you know what I'm saying. Like, Sukuna typically has a certain air about him, but he seems to be lacking that right now. So maybe he's actually taking Yorozu a bit seriously. Like, Yorozu doing this is impressive, but we do get to see that Yorozu is, like, I don't judge people, all right? Like, it's the current year. I've realized that judging people is not a safe thing to do. But, like, I make a humble request from you to me. Please, unless you're into it. If you're into it, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. But please, if you're ever, like, interested in somebody, and your first request when you're fighting them to the death is like, cut me up, cut me, slice me, and rip me to shreds. My love is buried within this flesh. Witness me, tear me open like a Christmas present. Like, I think you're in too deep. Like, I've had unhealthy crushes in my life before. I will wholeheartedly admit. And then I actually, like, had the nerve to build up the confidence to actually speak to the human being and realize, yeah, no. And I've realized that being the truth. So maybe Yorozu needs to realize that. And if you are ever that deep as Yorozu is, please realize that. It is not a good place. It is not a healthy place. And now that I think about it, the insect armor are the exact same wings she spawned earlier. That's neat. However, with that being the case, we do get to see that Sukuna's like, fine, whatever. And Yorozu goes to use her liquid metal to entrap Sukuna once again. But unlike before, where Sukuna had open air to dodge it, the metal rips through the ceiling and through the floor to entrap Sukuna. And with that being the case, we see Sukuna looking through it like, once again, Yorozu, your name is not Yuta Okotsu. Your name is not Yuji Itadori. You're not even Maki Zenin. You are not valid. And proceeds to drop a new Shikigami. An entirely new Shikigami. Tranquil Deer. We had Max Elephant, Divine Dogs, Rabbit Escape, and now we have the Tranquil Deer. And I'll admit, I really like this design because it stands in contrast to the other ones. Actually, no, it doesn't. Now I think about it. It stands very similar to the other ones, but just the appearance of it. It feels just a bit outer worldly. Like, it gives me like almost Eldritch vibes in terms of its design and the way that Sukuna stands there. Just utterly calm. And we see that Sukuna's cloak has been ripped away, but he himself is mostly fine. And this deer that towers over Sukuna actually heals him. And we see that Yorozu even notes she's lost control of her liquid metal. And this is very concerning, because we find out the Shikigami's ability. Notably, it leans down and touches Sukuna's arm, and suddenly all the damage he has taken vanishes instantaneously. And Yorozu realizes, I see. That Shikigami's ability is healing via reverse curse technique. It must have neutralized and canceled out my cursed energy in the liquid metal. Now, huh? Wait, what? Like, hold on. Multiple questions. 1. Megumi. How'd you not slay this thing? Like, does it have any offensive abilities that I just don't know about or something? Like, Megumi, why is this thing not in your kit immediately? Like, you had max out. You should have jumped this thing to oblivion. Like, straight up, why? You're telling me you have a whole Shikigami that releases reverse curse technique and you just didn't master it? Like, unless this thing is secretly broken and the only reason it's being so nice and calm is because it realizes, oh no, that's Sukuna. I'll get one shot if I fight back against it. Why was this not constantly underused by Megumi? Remember in the fight with Reggie? He needed some healing. That boy needed some healing bad. When he opened his domain, why didn't he summon this? Sweet Mother of Mercy, what? The Tranquil Deer, it doesn't even sound like a fighting creature. It literally just sounds like a healer. So, for one, Megumi has direct access to the highest level of cursed energy in terms of RCT, which can heal other people. So, why didn't he have that? Unless he just didn't know about it. But why didn't he know about it? 2, it can just erase the cursed energy. So, I already thought RCT was broken. Like, don't get me wrong. literally having the ability to heal yourself as a sorcerer is crazy. Sure, it takes a whole ton of energy, but still, the fact that people have access to RCT at all is insane. The fact that RCT already allowed you to pretty much one-shot cursed spirits by just slapping them hard enough was, one, extremely rare, because, like, I guess only Yuta and Shoko could do it, along with Sukuna, which is 3 people out of, like, the 100 or so characters that roam around the verse and are actual combatants. But that's still crazy that you can just one-shot cursed spirits like that. But for 3, it can just negate cursed techniques by erasing the cursed energy within them. Huh? Like, legitimately, that means, hold on, maybe Yuta was holding back. Because if he could just turn off the cursed energy within things. But then again, maybe this is only specifically working so well against Yorozu liquid metal because Yorozu controls liquid metal through cursed energy. Like, I'm not exactly sure if, like, the deer could just stand there and face tank a granite blast, which is just cursed energy discharge. I have no real idea. Because notably, the metal doesn't exactly disappear or dissipate despite being composed of cursed. But then again, maybe it kind of does. No, it just falls back into the holes. So the metal itself doesn't disappear, but the cursed energy controlling the metal does. So the fact that RCT can be used to just shut down cursed techniques if interacted with them, if they're infused with something. Like, I'm pretty sure this is one-shots other Shikigami, right? Because they're infused with and controlled by cursed energy, so they're just one-shot. This could probably just negate techniques if you release enough of it. That's crazy. Like, you just have a passive technique negation, which is absolutely insane. And we see that this deer is just capable of healing at this. Like, it doesn't actively do 2 different things. Like, it just passively releases cursed energy. So just by existing around this deer, if you're the user of it, you are constantly getting healed. And if you're the enemy of it, your technique is consistently being shut down. But speaking of techniques, Sukuna said, fine, forget this. You know, I'm feeling fancy. I'm feeling on a roll. Piercing bull. And he immediately lets out the bull. And notably, something is so hilarious about this. Like, the bull doesn't even necessarily spawn in properly. Like, it doesn't rise from a shadow or anything. No, the bull just straight up, boom. He makes the hand sign and instantly smacks Yorozu dead in the head. And this bull is quite Chadley. You know, I love bulls. I think they're neat. But why doesn't Megumi have access to this thing either? Like, this one I kind of understand a bit more, especially once its ability is explained, but the deer I don't get. I don't know why Megumi didn't have access to that, unless there's some specific requirements about summoning these things. And speaking of which, I kind of played it off earlier, but why can Sukuna use these things without taming them first? Wasn't the whole property of the Ten Shadows technique that you need to beat the other Shikigami before you can use them? Did Sukuna just beating Mahoraga in another body that wasn't even tied to the Ten Shadows technique give him full jurisdiction over all of them? Because Mahoraga is supposed to be the strongest? I have no idea. But it doesn't make sense that these things are just casually attacking under Sukuna's will, when realistically they should be not attacking Yorozu, they should be attacking Sukuna. Like, maybe the deer can attack. Something makes me believe that. It's an RCT user. I highly doubt it's capable of attacking other things. But at least the bull shouldn't have charged dead at Yorozu. It should have just, maybe, let's say it does, but it should have immediately turned around and charged Sukuna too. Because Sukuna didn't tame it. Megumi didn't tame it. I get Sukuna having access to Divine Dogs, to Nue, to heck, not Mahoraga. Mahoraga doesn't make sense either because it was never tamed by a Ten Shadows user or Megumi's body. But still, with that being the case, I understand those because Megumi had used all of them before. Even the elephant they used later on in the chapter, something that Megumi had access to. Don't necessarily get how he has access to the bull and deer and them being loyal and obedient. I think that's just a plot mistake. Like, I'm not exactly... I feel the same way about this that I feel about Sukuna being able to knock out Hana without any repercussions from the binding vow. It feels like Gege kind of just is hoping that you don't think about it too hard, but considering that's such a blatant thing about the technique, and it's the main reason why Megumi wasn't spamming Mahoraga left and right, I don't know. Something about that seems a little bit off, if you ask me. Unless it's revealed later that Meguna, like, one-shot all of these things off screen, which is entirely possible. Maybe you're just meant to infer that. Without that, like, statement or inference being made, it kind of just breaks all the rules. And not a big fan of rule breaking, so I don't know. Gege, you ain't... Like, I'm happy to see more of them, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see more of the Shikigami, considering we still haven't gotten all 10. Even with this Piercing Bull and the Tranquil Deer, we have 1, 2, those 2, then Mahoraga, that's 3, then Divine Dogs, that's 4, then Rabbit Escape, that's 5, then the Fraud Shikigami, that's 6, then Nue, that's 7. Then max elephant, that's 8. So I think we're still missing the snake, that's 9. I think, do we have all 10? I don't think we have all 10 yet. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, we do have 9 now. We have 9 of the 10 Shikigami of the 10 Shadows technique. I'm intrigued to see what the last one is. Especially since Sukuna's just dropping them left and right here. He's kind of just like ganking Yorozu with all of his Shikigami. I'm wondering what the last one's going to be. Because, like, does anything special happen? Like, if he uses all 10 of them at once, which he easily could. He has more than enough curse energy to drop Nue, Piercing Bowl, Tranquil Deer, Max Elephant, all that. He has more than enough curse energy to do all that. So I wonder what happens if you summon all 10. Do you get like a special secret 11 Shikigami, or do you just have all 10 at once? I don't know. Very intrigued to see that. However, the Piercing Bull, as it knocks Yorozu back, Yorozu's like, this bull's pretty beefy. And we do get an explanation for something, which also feels a little bit hokey. Like, I don't know, something about Gege in this chapter feels a little bit strange. Because we see Sukuna had previously used 10 shadows by purposely keeping the form of the Shikigami partially unstable. This allowed larger effective attack range while still keeping them from falling apart altogether. However, the Shikigami could no longer move independently, and overall, their attack power was lowered considerably as a result. But taking into consideration Sukuna's immense cursed energy reserve and output, these drawbacks were relatively inconsequential. Tranquil Deer and Piercing Bull were summoned with the original 10 shadows technique, and their form was fully stabilized. So what? Like, why was he not summoning full solid constructs? He summoned a fully solid Nue. What made him suddenly start summoning not complete ones? Like, the Divine Dog is the main example they use. Gege even has a flashback panel to it. But why didn't he? He used the 10 shadows by purposely keeping the form of the Shikigami partially unstable. This allowed larger effective attack range. Okay. You know what else would be larger effective attack range? If you just let them be larger and effective. Like, we've seen that Nue got way bigger because of Sukuna's output, so I don't get why he made a mini Divine Dog that was, like, not of a solid shape or form. He should have just made a regular one. Like, I don't necessarily get this. And I think this is somewhat meant to explain, like, why the Piercing Bull and Tranquil Deer will fully stabilize, but that doesn't, like, that just because they're fully stabilized doesn't mean they shouldn't be attacking him anyway. I don't know. This seems weird. I just don't get why Sukuna did it. I thought maybe it was Megumi's fault, that Megumi hypothetically was restricting Sukuna from forming proper Shikigami against his sister. But no, it's just Sukuna's own free will, which seems weird. Like, if any of y'all can tell me why Sukuna would make incomplete outside of a larger attack range, even though he could literally just make them bigger, as we've seen him do multiple times already. I don't know. And also, if you could explain, like, why the Shikigami aren't attacking him outside of the headcanon that, like, oh, they know it's Sukuna and they aren't going to attack him. Let me know. I don't know. It seems strange. It just seems strange. However, speaking of seeming strange, we do get to see that Yorozu's like, this bull is strange, but don't underestimate me. And she throws the bull away. But the bull is like, okay. Still here, though. And it lunges right back in, and I love it. We do get to see, though, that she meets it with a punch. And this punch does send the bull back, but not as far as when she threw it. And she realizes that the Shikigami has a very special property. In order to, I suppose, make up for its simplicity, every single time it charges, the more distance it charges in a straight line, its power increases dramatically the further it charges. And seemingly based on the fact that she didn't punch it that far, but now, instead of being able to punch it, it knocks her back, it's sort of a continuous stacking velocity. So it's not just the fact that the bull will charge and gain power appropriate to the distance traveled from where it initially spawned and then where it initially started running. No, ever since its spawn point, it's going to keep rising in power dramatically every single time it charges, which is extremely broken, because as long as you don't immediately exercise it, it's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And considering this is Yorozu that was already out here punching and slobber knocking around Sukuna, this bull may just solo Rika and Ishigori. But regardless, we do get to see that as the bull is, knocking it away, Yorozu doesn't actually get a chance to breathe as her armor cracks. A whole bunch of rabbits come in. And notably, the rabbits do seem slightly bigger, but once again, these aren't cars. Gege, I need cars. I need car-sized rabbits. Like, come on now. You can't keep letting me down after Nui was so gigantic, dog. You gotta give me something more than this. Gege, I'm letting you cook, but I don't know. I need you to chef it up a little bit more. And we do get to see as these rabbits charge in, they sort of surround Yorozu and encompass her entirely. And we see that she's like, where are you hiding? Are you feeling guilty? Do you not want to smack me with your girth? And we do get to see that Sukuna, I'm not sure what's implied here. I think maybe he just, like, tapped up into the sky, like he hopped off the tree and then went into the air, but he could be flying here. And we see that he's like, now then, I wonder if you can endure this. And he drops, I mean, it is a max elephant. In fact, it's not even a max elephant, it's a myriad elephant. And notably, I kind of don't like the design. Like, the hollow eyes is fine and everything, but it loses detail compared to the original. Sure, it's bigger, but it's also, once again, a bit underwhelming in comparison to what we saw in Nue. Like, Nue was the size of this stadium when used by Sukuna. This myriad elephant is like, it's big, but it's not like a city big. And obviously I get that. You can't just drop a city-sized elephant on Megumi's sister because Megumi wouldn't allow it. But come on now, dog. Do a little bit more. Be a little bit extra. However, this myriad elephant does land. It does drop. And it just shatters everything. The force of this elephant landing from the height it did destroys everything, including Yorozu's armor. And we see that Sukuna's like, that's just what I thought. You were no threat. You didn't even make me use my shrine. Is that all your so-called love amounts to? And we see Yorozu huffing and puffing, and she's like, not even close. Oh, that hurt. I'm only just getting started, teaching you about love. I understand more than anyone the loneliness that comes with peerless strength. No, you don't. You really don't. But regardless, I will be the one to teach you love. And we see that Sukuna just makes the goofiest face. He's like, okay, go ahead. You teach me about love. And we see that she's like, huh? He's still just laughing in her face. And she's like, no, it can't be. Does my thick muscle mommy Sukuna already know about love? There's no way. That's not love. You're mistaken. I'll show you what real love looks like. I'll construct it and show you my heart. The manifestation of love to be continued in chapter 219. Chapter 218 end. We are not on break next week. Hallelujah. Now, I will admit, other than like the one problem I have with the Shikigami attacking Sukuna and the weird motivation for him not solidifying his constructs, I really like the chapter. It's cool to see Maguna get to show off a little bit with the new Shikigami. I like Piercing Bull. I like Tranquil Deer. The implications that RCT has on the rest of the verse is cool. Seeing Yorozu get some pretty solid scaling on Sukuna is neat. Even though I'm sad that Mahoraga didn't get summoned himself, kind of sad, I am happy to see Maguna with it floating above his head. Though, admittedly, a strange thing is that I think by the end of the chapter, does he not? I can't tell because of the distance. Like, hold on, let me zoom in a bit more. We get too many close-up shots on him, but I don't even think... Oh, no, he still does have it above his head, so he still has it by the end of the chapter. I'm not exactly sure what it's doing. Hope we get some explanation on that, but overall, super W chapter. It was mostly an action chapter, that's why I didn't have much to break down, but overall, I'm excited for next time. Hopefully, either Yorozu does do something to Sukuna that actually causes him to try a little bit, maybe reveal the final Shikigami, or more likely someone's going to appear and finally start the jump, because there's no way with all this cursed energy of this great variety being thrown around, the massive damage that's been caused here, there's no way other people in Sendai or people even outside of Sendai who know Sukuna's in Sendai haven't shown up or heard this or sensed this. Something's got to happen to where they realize what's popping off here, and hopefully someone comes to give Yorozu the assist, whether it be Yuta, whether it be Kashima, whether it be anybody. I just want to see someone help jump Sukuna. However, that's what I think. Please what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It makes it a notification so you miss out on any videos that come to this channel. Also I do a page down below. Each video as one down below. Exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as 3 months to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off.